Hello, Kendra Mullins here, and today I'm going to be doing my book talk and the multiple intelligence video. Did you hear it? Did you just hear that noise? Something in the walls. It could be a squirrel, could be a ferret, but I mean, what kind of ferret makes their own weird knickknacks? Siblings Mallory, Simon, and Jared soon realized that their new dilapidated shack of a house they just moved into contains a world nobody's ever noticed before that they know of. The world of fairy. In this book here, the Spiderwick Chronicles, the Field Guide, Book 1. It is by Tony Dieter Lizzie and Holly Black. It's a fantasy fiction adventure book. It opens readers' eyes to the invisible world of fairy. This book was written for ages 8 to 10. It makes excellent reading material for grades 3 to 5. Basically, when the Gray siblings arrive at Spiderwick Estate, they discover that their new house, well, looks basically like a shack. Jared says here, it wasn't really though. It was more like a dozen shacks had been piled on top of one another. There were several chimneys, and the whole thing was topped off by a strip of iron fence sitting on the roof like a particularly garish hat. With a Lexile level of 600 LL, students will dive right into this creepy setting. And Jared Grace, which is one of the main characters, he is a 9-year-old boy who seems to be getting in a lot of trouble here lately. He has a twin brother named Simon, and Simon likes collecting animals of all sorts. And then they have an older sister named Mallory. Mallory likes fencing and bossing around her little brothers. However, they run into some problems when they're at their house. Again, ferrets don't usually tie their sister's hair to the bed. That's a little weird. So, I mean, there's hair tying, stolen mice, creepy riddles found in the attic. Jared actually finds a book titled Author Spiderwick's Field Guide to the Fantastical World Around You. However, they are met with a warning about this book that they found. Author Spiderwick's book is not for your kind. Too much about Fae for a mortal to find. All who have kept it have come to harm, be it through violence or through charm. Throw the book away, toss it in a fire. If you do not heed, you will draw their ire. Who's they? Unfortunately for you, once you start reading this book, you're not going to want to put it down. You're going to want to read the whole series just like I did. Now, this book right here, of course, can play into Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence on an interpersonal level. You find out in the book that the siblings have moved to this shack because of the recent split between their parents. They're not very happy about this. They're very sad. Interpersonal intelligence is the capacity to detect and respond appropriately to the moods, motivations, and desires of others. In this text, the Grace children are struggling after leaving their home. Jared said, ever since their dad moved out, everything had gone bad. He'd messed up at school, and the fading bruise on his left eye did not let him forget about it. But this place was the worst yet. In the book, Jared and his siblings come across a nest in the wall while trying to find out what was in the wall. And basically they make this Bogart mad. Well, Jared gets to thinking that, you know, he's unhappy. And he can relate to this Bogart because maybe the Bogart doesn't want to be there either. Maybe the Bogart is mad that they tore up their nest. So they come up with this idea to build the Bogart a new nest in hopes to make it happy. And in doing so, the Grace children are detecting and responding to the moods and motivations of the Bogart and are now trying to make things better with it. Students, a good exercise for students to do with this book after reading it is role-playing together. They can have a group of students, some of them be the characters in the book, maybe the Bogart, maybe Simon or Jared or Mallory, And the other groups of the students have them counsel them and plan a way to help them cope with what they are experiencing. Text to self connections between the Grace children. Mallory really likes fencing. Simon, of course, likes collecting animals. And Mallory likes to boss around her younger siblings. That was me. Text to text connections. A book of the same genre, like the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Just like this book, these creatures exist in a world that's parallel to ours. However, you know, we as normal people, I guess, don't know they exist, but they do. And text to society connections. Students can connect to them having problems at home, having problems with bullies at school, getting in trouble at school, and so forth.